Well, hello and welcome to a special edition of Let's Get It On, the interviews. Sitting in the studio with me this morning, I've got the wonderful Alan Crozier. Alan, good morning.
Good morning. Nice to meet you.
And you too. So, Alan, for our listeners' point of view, tell us all about your musical journey so far.
Well, going back decades to the 1970s, well, the late 60s, 70s, I was in a number of folk groups and played a lot. You can tell I'm Scottish from my accent. Played a lot in the borders of Scotland and in the west coast of Scotland in the folk clubs. And I mean, it was quite an exciting time because there was a bit of a folk revival. And you'd end up, working with people like Rab Noakes, Hamish Imlach, Gerry Rafferty, Billy Connolly, and so on. So it's quite an exciting time. And that went on for a number of years. But then, of course, career takes over, family takes over, and so the performing side virtually disappeared. And really only picked it up again with any degree of seriousness when I moved down here. I'm now in East Sussex, and we moved here 4 years ago, and found out that in the village where I live, called Plumpton Green, they have a thing every 2 years called PlymtonFest, where local musicians get together and perform in the village hall. And I thought, I think I'll put my name down for that. I mean, nobody knows me, so it doesn't matter if I make a mess of it. And actually, it's probably the best thing I did because that introduced me to a whole bunch of local musicians who now meet monthly in the local pub and have a jam and a carry on. So it's been really good in that sense. And that also gave a bit of the impetus, now that I'm virtually retired and I have time, to speak to people I know in Glasgow, which is Ian at Ioko Music and Nick Prentice at Media Room, who I've known for many, many years, and say, I've got this song, what do you think? And they both liked it, and so we decided, well, okay, let's do something with that.
Isn't that wonderful, though, that journey 4 years ago from Scotland to Sussex, has brought you back into music again? It's sort of come full circle, hasn't it?
It's bizarre. I mean, it wasn't something I planned. It just, when I saw this PlymtonFest thing advertised, I thought, why not? I mean, I hadn't at that point. So where are we? That would be 2021.
Yeah.
And I hadn't played in public since 1985. So it was a bit of a gamble, but fortunately it paid off.
Yeah, but that's the thing about music; it never leaves you, does it? And there is no ageism in music because there's a lot of people who, just like you, have had families and careers and things that got in the way of their creative process. But suddenly, when they retire, they think, well, actually, no, I can pick it up. And Sussex, Suffolk, Norfolk, all of these areas are rich tapestry of musicians that are just like you.
Yeah, well, I was amazed at the number of talented people there are within a very small radius, actually.
Yeah, and these little small festivals give a platform, don't they, for emerging artists and for artists that are coming back into, musicianship, if you like. And what do you feel about your music that you're creating today as opposed to the music that you created in the past?
I would like to think it's better now. Certainly a bit more sophisticated. And because I'd never really, while we had played live a lot in the early days, we had never actually recorded anything. So the recording process was part of the new experience as well. And, really taking time to think about what is it we're trying to say here musically. I mean, not just the lyrics, but what is it we're trying to say musically? What sort of imagery are we trying to create? And therefore, what instruments do we need? How do we want to produce it? And Nick at Media Room is the genius in terms of turning some fairly raw guitar and lyrics into something meaningful.
It's technology today has moved on so much, hasn't it? There are so many endless possibilities that you can do. Sometimes it's a bit mind-boggling what is available to create the atmosphere that you want within a track. It's almost an art form in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, and we try to remain faithful to the music in the sense that we don't use AI I mean, certainly in the recent track, I mean, I think there are probably, okay, there's keyboards and there's bass and drums. The drums are programmed, to be fair. But I think we used 4 guitars,
Yeah.
all with slightly different sounds and cadences, just to create the thing that came together.
But that's the difference is that you can play those live, and you can take that song that may well have been produced in a studio environment, but you can take it with you and you can play it live and recreate it.
Uh-huh.
And everybody knows that, you know, music that's released is it has to have a certain format of publishing and polishing before it
Sure.
goes live. And that's because that's what the audience expect from you,
Yeah.
I guess.
And
But the
that's what
fact is,
radio wants as well.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, we do play live music, you know, from some of the festivals that we've been to, and there is a rawness about that liveness, you know, that live
Yes.
edge, you know, that you can't beat, I don't think, when you're in front of an artist playing, you know, and all the trappings have gone, and you just
Yes.
get that raw essence. It's still as beautiful, but it's a different beautiful
Uh-huh.
to a polished one, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
you moved to Sussex 4 years ago, and in 2 years ago, you released a song.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about this song.
Well, the song actually was inspired. Well, you remember the title, Die Young as Late as You Can. It was inspired by a funeral. I was at a funeral for a friend's father who died at a good age. He was 85 and he'd had a good innings. He was well known and well respected in the community. And Alec McLeish, who was doing the eulogy at the funeral, quoted an anthropologist called Ashley Montague, who famously said, "The idea is to die young as late as possible." That just stuck in my head. I thought, that's such a great idea.
Yeah.
And so I kind of noodled with that that was probably February. I think by June, I actually sat down and wrote the song. That was in 2019.
That was in 2019.
And then, of course, COVID hit and lockdown and all of that stuff. So we didn't actually get round to laying down a track in 2021, probably May, June 21. And again, because I was now, well, shortly after that, I was down here in Sussex and the recordings in Glasgow. So a couple of journeys back up to Glasgow, and over time we finished it probably at the end of 22 and released it in March 23.
Yeah. Well, let's have a listen to this now. And I've got to say this slowly because it's such an important message, isn't it? Die young as late as you can. Now, most of us of a certain age will get that. We'll understand that completely. So let's just have a listen to this track.
Okay.
Desert highway, picking it up through the gears. In his mind, he's living the dream. He's wanted one for 40 odd years. Heading south in California, gonna see the Rolling Stones. He's been a fan since he was a kid, got rock and roll in his bones. He's dying young, as late as he can. He's dying young, as late as he can.
So, Alan, who are your influences then? Who influences your music style?
Hard to say because it's such an eclectic mix. I mean, I obviously grew up with the Beatles and the Stones and the Animals and the Kinks and, all of that talented bunch. And then, you start to listen to, Neil Young, Bob Dylan, Paul Simon, James Taylor. I mean, I could go on. So it's hard to know a Leonard Cohen, in fact, who was an influence in what will be the next song. And it's hard to know, really. I mean, it all kind of seeps its way in, and at some point, it's got to come back out again. I mean, in the recent, the current single, a number of people who have heard it have said there's a bit of Travelling Wilburys in there, and and probably there is, because
Yeah.
George Harrison was in the Travelling Wilburys. And of course, Jeff Lynne worked with Harrison and indeed the Beatles. So there's that whole kind of thing going on there.
In the pot, it's all in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to put your finger on any single thing as an influence.
I think from Scotland and Ireland and from Wales, we kind of have that Celtic storytelling, don't we, in songs? And is that an important element for you to weave a story into your songs?
Yeah, I find that. I mean, I'm not a prolific songwriter. I haven't written all that many songs. But I find that I need an influence. I need something to trigger it. Like, as I told you the story about that funeral and the eulogy.
Yes.
That triggered that. The new song, The Dream, was triggered. I woke up, I don't know about you, but when I wake up in the morning, one of the first things I say to myself is, what day is it? So that I know it's supposed to be happening.
Yeah, you do when you retire, don't you? The days all blend into one.
Yeah, I woke up early in the morning. It was still dark. And of course, what day is it? And I worked out that it was Thursday. And the following day, I was going to fly off on holiday. And I thought, okay, tomorrow I fly. Saturday I wake up in another country. And I thought, oh, that's an idea, waking up in another country. So I picked up my phone, dictated 5 lines, and then went back to sleep. And later that day, after I'd done all the packing and organisation, I sat down with my guitar and thought, right, what can I do with this? And the only critical bit in the first verse, which you will hear obviously, there's a line, the third line actually was 2 lines, and I had to pick one. It was either, do I remember, yes, I always will, or do I still love you, yes, I always will.
Yes.
But okay, here's a decision point. Is this going to be a love song, possibly tortuous, or is it going to be a bit of a mystery?
Yeah.
And I decided, we've got enough love songs, let's go for a mystery and try and find out what it is that he has to remember.
And that's based on the fact that will you wake up and remember which day it is? I mean, it's a subject that fascinates me, that you can leave one country, go to bed in another. It's kind of, we take for granted that ability to travel anywhere in the world, don't we? Yeah. And cross time zones and sleep under the same stars, but in a different country, in a different time zone. It always fascinates me. So at this point, we probably ought to have a listen to Dreaming. So let's have a listen to Dreaming.
Wake up. Waking up in another country, the sun is rising and the wind is still. Looking out across the water, do I remember? Yes, I always will. First night in another country, a memory I will never mean to lose. Where are you now? I can't see you. This is not the ending that I choose. Only love, they used to say, can mend a broken heart. Where are you now, my love? sunrise. I wonder if my mind is playing a game. Only love, they used to say, can mend a broken heart. Where are you now, my love? Come back and play your part. Was it just a dream? Now, my love, come back and play your part. Why do I think that I'm the cat that got the queen? Now I know, though strange it seems, that you were just a dream. Here I am in another country, far and far away, my lover. Here I am in another country, far and far away, my lover. You're just a dream.
Alan, with the guys that you are playing with now, do you call yourselves a band, or are you all just independent? And so,
All independent. I mean, well, the songs we're talking about are basically the ones that I've done. Nick augments them, and plays lead guitar and produces the song ultimately. Ian is the publisher, Ioko Music, also based in Scotland. And again, when we're thinking about the song and what we want to do with it, we decide, well, who's going to do the vocal? Because while I can hold a tune, I don't have the range that I necessarily want to have
in the song,
in the finished product. And so we select a vocalist for the song. And the first one, Die Young, was by Martin Jenkins, who plays in a band called Lonehead. And the Dream is Derek Yeaman, who is a professional vocalist. So that's how it comes together. So, I mean, the core is Nick Prentice and myself.
yes.
And then we decide what else do we need to make this sing, as it were.
So if people want to find you then, Alan, do they look for you? Do they look for Nick, or do they look for a combined?
Well, they'll find us in Spotify, Amazon, Apple, YouTube under the name Crozier.
Right. Okay. So that's the collective.
With a long debate about what we should call it, and I was against calling it Crozier initially, but eventually Ian and Nick and indeed my wife at the time said, no, you got to go with Crozier. So
well, it's a collective, isn't it? That's the thing. You've got to have a pinpoint for all of those collectives, because I guess each song that you write, you will bring in the musicians that you feel are going to add the element that you need for the particular song.
Yes. Yeah, and it's the same thing, right? What instruments do we use? You know, even if it's something simple like picking which guitar to play, it's just part of the process.
I guess the hard thing would be to get you all together to play together, wouldn't it? If you're in different parts of the country.
Yeah, well, we do manage that in Glasgow when we get vocals and guitars and everything together.
Yeah.
We normally start by laying down the guitar track with a guide vocal, and then start to build up the music, and then bring in the vocalist And typically I do backing vocals and the oohs and ahs and all that stuff, and a bit of harmony. But it does come together. So we do actually get together at some point towards the end.
What would you say has been your highlight through your, I mean, I know you obviously had a career outside of music, but what's been the highlight things for you in your musical journey?
I think just actually recording something for the first time and listening to it on the radio. That was a major buzz.
Yeah, I guess it's like, because that, again, those opportunities have widened, haven't they, so much? Because instead of being a narrow playing field, it's a huge playing field now with so many different stations picking up songs and playing songs. So your opportunity to get heard is really big, but then there is a lot of music being released at the moment. So to get heard is still kind of that difficult spot, that sweet spot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a total competition. And one of the big things that also surprised me, and still surprises me, is that it's been picked up all over the world. In fact, a friend who just last month was in Thailand on holiday and said, "I heard your track in Thailand." I mean, it's just...
Oh, how wonderful is that? Those are magic moments, aren't they?
Absolutely.
But you don't do it for the fame, do you? You reach an age where it's like, I'm doing this because I love doing what I'm doing. It's a release, you know. It's a hobby that, you know, you can do and you can enjoy, and you don't have the pressure that some of the big stars have to constantly produce stuff and get it out there. You're doing it because you have a love of music, a love of bringing people together.
Yeah, I remember I was listening to an interview that Mark Knopfler did at the time when he was selling all these guitars. And he said, you know, we were number one all over the world. We were 18 months into being Dire Straits, seriously, and we were still living in a rented flat and living on not very much because they hadn't had any royalties through. It's just, you know, it's a tough gig, you know, no matter where you are, there's always pressure.
Yes, yeah, and there is always that, you know, it costs quite a bit of money for you guys to make your music, to produce your music, to get it out there, and then do all the social media stuff that you have to do. And, you know, having a good PR company alongside you or a publisher alongside you is quite important because they take some of that work away for you, don't they? So you can get on with doing your creativity. Because when you release a track, you know, that's not the end of it, is it? There's all the other things that have to happen afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is part of it. I mean, it's, but I enjoy that. It's part of the journey. It's part of the gig.
And from your wife's point of view, I guess she's kind of, does she sort of, he's at it again, or does she enjoy this newfound sort of creativity that you're doing now you're retired? Does she join you on any of the tracks?
Unfortunately, she died 2 years ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Alan.
However, she did manage to hear Die Young on the radio before she died, which was a major buzz for her.
Yeah.
So that was good. But yeah, unfortunately, just timing. But yeah, she was very supportive.
Oh, and I guess you're working through your grief still, you know, by creating music and having this diversion.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm still grieving. You know, you kind of go through that process. In fact, there's a period when you think back, you thought, what did I do for 3 months? You know, what? You know, I can't remember. It's a blur. But
that's a healthy sign that you're so busy that you know. And I think it was, I was watching Vinnie Jones the other day on his farm in Sussex. I think it is Sussex, and he said, keep busy. You know, I just keep busy. He said, I don't know what day of the week it is. I'm just keeping busy. You just keep going. And it's making the most, isn't it, of the time we have, because all too soon it's taken away from us, no matter what age you are.
Yeah. Keep going.
Keep going.
Attitude. I mean, I think one of the things with the Die Young track coming out in 23, which was later than we wanted, really, was because of COVID.
Yeah.
And at that point, people coming out of lockdown and getting over the COVID thing, I think it had a new resonance for people in terms of so many people were rethinking their lives, and so many people, particularly in London, were thinking about, oh, let's get out of here and let's move to the country, and all that sort of stuff going on. Let's reevaluate what we actually want from
a massive switch in mental health thinking, that we have only got one life and it could be taken away from us so quickly. Absolutely. as often it does, and it's such a hard lesson. They always say, when I grow old, I'm going to dye my hair purple, and I'm going to slide I'm going to slide into the grave, and you kind of think, life is tough for a lot of people, and it's hard to grasp that nettle that today is the only day that's the most important day, because tomorrow's never a given, is it?
Not guaranteed, no. Not guaranteed.
So being really, let's not be pessimistic, but what's the future got for you guys then? What's next? I know you've got a new song that you're in the mix at the moment. What else is new for you?
Yeah, well, we've got another song which we want to record. And when you were asking about influences, that one was definitely influenced by Leonard Cohen.
Oh, okay.
And we'll probably record that later this year. We'll let the dream run its course and see how that does.
Yeah.
And maybe towards the end of the year, we'll lay down another track and release it. Certainly not before Christmas. Release it in next spring.
Yeah. And what about when's the Plumpton Festival? Has that been and gone, or are you playing again
there?
No,
it's every 2 years, and it comes round this year in October.
In October. So will you be playing at that as well?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Wonderful. And so people can get tickets to that, can they, Alan?
Yes, indeed. And last time I actually played with my granddaughter.
Oh, did you?
Who sang with me, which was nice. She was only 16 at the time. And this year I'm going to play with my grandson, who's been learning guitar. So that's going to be good fun.
Oh, that's wonderful that they're taking your love of music with them as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So is she still singing, your granddaughter?
Well, she's just back from a gap year in South America. So for the last 14 weeks, she's been in just about every South American country.
Gosh.
But yes, she does like singing, but she only came back on Friday, so we haven't even
caught up yet. Could we see a song with her and your grandson on? That would be something special, wouldn't it? To have them both on a next song from you.
Yeah, well, you never know.
No, never say never. Will there be an album, do you think, Alan?
Hard to see. I would need... Yeah, I don't currently have enough decent songs to fill an album. I could probably in the next year have an EP.
But that's the thing about music, it takes time, and when you're happy with a song, you're happy with it, and then you can put them all together as a compilation, because what you're giving your grandchildren is a lasting legacy of you, aren't you?
As well, yeah. I mean, they are fans, which is good. I always said if I was doing anything in music, I would rather be Bernie Taupin than Elton John.
Yes.
I don't see me being a star or being out front or doing all that stuff. I'm quite happy. Let me just craft a couple of songs and see if we can record them and get them out there.
Yeah.
Somebody else wants to record them, even better.
Yeah. How do you come up with the different melodies though, Alan? Because we all get influenced by different songs, don't we? And it's so easy to go into a rhythm and a groove of a song that and you think, no, that sounds like that now. So where does that come from? Do you kind of just play around in your head?
Yeah, well, with Die Young, I wrote the first verse, which had a kind of cadence to it. And then I thought, I can probably do this in 3 chords. And I thought, right, let's try start in G. Okay, next one, E minor, D. Okay, G, A minor, D works, that's fine. So that worked for the verses, and then I thought, okay, I need a middle 8, where am I going to go? So then you go to, okay, let's do D, A, E minor or something. And it worked. With the Dream, I actually had... What I was going to say it was a guitar riff, but it was actually more than that. It was actually a proper chord structure for a whole song that I had written, and I had no lyrics. And that was years ago. I used to keep playing this thinking, maybe I'll get some inspiration.
Yeah.
It never came. until I woke up one morning and thought, what day is it? And I went with that lyric that I had written hastily into my phone. I went into the room and sat down with the guitar and thought, right, I wonder if, and I went back to that riff and it worked.
Wow.
So that's how that came together.
Wow. From all those years ago, and suddenly you woke up and then put the two together. Isn't that lovely though? That
amazing.
You know, the synchronicity, even if it's years apart, still can work its magic today.
Yeah. And I've got another one now that I've worked out on the guitar, and I'm looking for the inspiration to put the lyrics to it. So it'll come eventually, and something will happen that'll just go, there you go, there's an idea.
Yeah. And I guess
I tend to need the inspiration and a subject, if you like, and I tend to write hopefully in a logical way, but it tells a story. So I tend to need to follow a narrative in the lyrics. I would find it very difficult to write, you know, some of the things that maybe Paul Simon has done or even Paul McCartney has done that actually, when you look at it, it doesn't actually make sense, but it sounds really good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's one of the beauties though of songwriting, isn't it, is that you've got those influences from the past, but today, you know, you can bring them forward in your own way, in your own style. And there is kind of a recipe, isn't there, that, you know, makes it your own style.
Well, yeah, I don't even know if I've found one yet, but you probably make up your mind once you've listened, once you know, you've thought about the two tracks.
Yeah.
Is there something common there between them? I think there is, but whether that is likely to be carried forward into the next track, which is very different, remains to be seen.
And it's no mean feat to get different artists together as a group and bring them together with your ideas and your the way you want the song to present, because everybody will have their own interpretation of a song, won't they? It doesn't matter, you know, that they'll all have their elements, but actually when you come together, bringing that team together and making you all gel and accepting ideas, and a collaboration is that, isn't it? It's accepting other ideas and going, well, actually we could turn this into this corner, and you'll go, yeah, or no, that doesn't work. So the fluidity of that collaboration brings that magic together, doesn't it?
Yes, and it can be a slightly iterative process, you know, because Nick would send me files and say, listen to that, what do you think of that? Or do you think we should move that there? Or, I mean, it's that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or, you know, should I make that sound more like a sitar, for example?
Yes.
You know, that might work. You know, it's that kind of discussion that goes on.
You pull these things out of the air and you bring it together, and, you know, but that's how great things achieve. I mean, Queen used to fall out all the time, didn't they? You know, over the way songs.
Most bands do, I think.
But look what happened to Queen as a result. You know, it's that creative process, and you know, sometimes you don't get it, do you? Sometimes you either the artist can't get where you want to go, or the singer can't get where you want to go with the song, and it's accepting that actually I can't do this. I'm not getting it, because you've got to get it, haven't you? All of you have got to get where the track's going in order for that final flower to bloom. Yeah,
and usually when I'm writing a song, I tend to think, I probably haven't written enough. I need another verse, or I need, you know, something else. And then, of course, when I sit down with Nick and we start thinking about the recording, he's always cutting it back, saying, "No, you need to cut that out." you need to keep it to 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, because radio airplay, they don't really like to play long play tracks, do they? But sometimes you need the longevity in the track to really get that message across, and that can be 4 or 5 minutes long before you get the slow lead in to build up to the story, as people are beginning to get the picture in their head of what the song's all about. You know, you sometimes need that length, don't you?
Yeah, and the dream actually runs to 4 minutes 17, but I'm sure some radio stations will just fade it out after about 3.5 minutes anyway, but
we tend to have 5 minutes because it gives other artists an opportunity, because if we had anything longer than 5 minutes or 6 minutes, then it eats into the time, because we could be playing 2 tracks in that 6 minutes, so it gives up it but I've now started to introduce a long play, show, which I'll do probably once a month, because it gives that opportunity for that long storytelling to happen. And I think it's sometimes that's what you want to do. You want to just completely switch off and listen, to a story that's being told. One of the things I was thinking about earlier about, die young as late as you can, and dreaming, is videos, because that's another thing now that there's an expectation, isn't there, to create videos for all your music. Have you done any yet, Alan?
Yeah, we did 2 for Die Young. One for the first verse, and one for the second verse, and they're on YouTube.
I was going to ask you where they are. So they're on YouTube under Crozier.
Yes.
Okay.
And we've done a short one for The Dream, which effectively is the chorus.
Right.
Which is maybe just over 35 seconds or something. That's on YouTube as well.
Well, we'll weave them into this interview so that our viewers can watch those as well while they're listening to those songs for you. So that will be quite nice to do. So we'll go and search for those. Alan, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you this morning. I know we don't have long. I had a little message coming up saying that I've only got 5 minutes left. So just one last time, if our listeners want to go and find your music, you're on Spotify, you're on all of the streaming platforms, you're on YouTube under the name of Crozier.
Yes, and Instagram as well. I forgot to mention Instagram.
Oh, and Instagram. And then are you on TikTok?
I am not, but Nick may well have put something on TikTok.
I tell you why, I've only just discovered this, and probably a lot of people know this, but on TikTok, if you link your TikTok account to your music distribution, so if your distributor links into your TikTok account, that goes into what TikTok calls their music library.
Right.
So when people use your music for their videos, because they can choose a track, and if they like it, they'll add it to their video, and you get the royalties from TikTok.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I went because I have done some tracks on TuneCore, and I was wondering why I was getting. I mean, it's only pennies, it's not. I can't retire on it. No. But I thought, why am I getting royalties on these tracks? And then it suddenly dawned on me when I went into my TikTok account. In the back bit where your music is, you can see how many people have created their own videos using your music, and obviously you get the royalty for it.
Okay.
So that's another little income stream that I don't know whether possibly lots of people do know about, but I've only just discovered it, and I thought, I'm going to tell as many people as I can. It's worth having it, but it just adds to the social media job.
Okay, good.
that you have to do.
Speak to Nick about that.
Yeah. Well, Alan, is there anything else you would like our listeners to know before we say goodbye?
Not really. I mean, by all means, enjoy what you've heard today, and go and stream it, like it, and share it.
That's what we need. More likes, more shares. Get the music out there, and obviously we look forward to the next song, and we'll look forward to maybe hearing your granddaughter and your grandson on the next ones. That's a job for them to do.
My daughter-in-law would love that.
Yeah, just to get them involved. Yeah, you take them away. But I think that would be rather special for you as a family, to have the three of you on a track together. And if they're going to be at Plumstead in, did you say September?
October.
October. So if you want to go and see Alan, you can go down to is it Plumstead?
Pumpton Green.
Pumpton Green.
Yeah.
Right, but obviously you'll put that on your Facebook pages, will you, that you're going to be playing there?
Yeah.
I'll try and remember that, and I'll share it for you. You can go and see Alan, and maybe you'll see his granddaughter.
11th of October.
In October, yeah. In October. Oh, Alan, well, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for taking time out to talk to me. I'll look forward to listening to those songs, and I'll look forward to watching the videos as well.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.